Hello everybody, SapphireSabre here, today with another Pokemon Nuzlocke. You guys seem to really enjoy the last run, so I did another. I honestly can't thank you all enough for all of your support in the last video. Every comment was extremely positive. If you're coming back to see more, then welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy, and if you do, consider hitting that subscribe button and liking the video. Alright, enough rambling, let's get to the video. So in this video, I will be attempting to complete a Nuzlocke in Pokemon Emerald with Hardcore Nuzlocke Rules. My rule set will be the standard Nuzlocke rules with, I can only catch the first Pokemon I encounter, if a Pokemon faints, it is considered dead and can't be used anymore, and I also play with the dupes clause, so if I find a duplicate Pokemon, I can re-roll the encounter until I get a valid encounter. This only counts for Pokemon that I've caught, not encountered. As for the rules that make this run hardcore, set mode must always be active. I cannot use items in battle, but held items and Pokeballs are okay. And I'm not allowed to overlevel, my Pokemon's level cannot exceed the next gym leader's ace Pokemon. Now with the rules out of the way, let's get to the run. After moving into a town with 2 buildings, my adventure begins. I almost witnessed my dad on TV. Yes, you heard that right, a Pokemon game where the character has both parents. Crazy. I head north, and witness a fully grown man with 3 elemental dogs fleeing in terror from a raccoon. Pokemon is weird sometimes. Now normally in Nuzlockes, I would suggest picking the Fire Starter, due to the large amount of water types and that grass types generally aren't that good, but Hoenn is a bit of an exception. Don't get me wrong, Blaziken is a very powerful Pokemon and a great choice, but I think Swampert is better. It handles all of the gyms extremely well, and the only type that it's weak to is grass, which is oddly uncommon in Hoenn. Due to this, I picked Mudkip, and I name him Muddy. No theme this time, which I honestly regret because my names are otherwise pretty uncreative. The early game of Hoenn is quite long, and we have many routes to explore before the first gym, the Rock Gym. The only major event is the first rival battle against May, but she isn't very hard. I'm able to battle a few wild Pokemon before, so I get Muddy to level 6 just to ensure victory. Now it's time for rapid-fire encounters. I catch a Wurmple named Boog, a Wingull named Duck, a Poochyena named Doggo, a Taillow named Burb, and a Shroomish named Shroomy Boy, a Nincada named Cicada, and a Whisper named Speaker. On a side note, I won't be allowing Shedinja in this playthrough, or any for that matter. Shedinja just makes gameplay extremely boring, as you just have to make sure the enemy can't hit it super effectively and you just get to win. I find that extremely unfun, so no Shedinja. Ninjask is still allowed though, so Nincada isn't useless. After a bit of grinding, Boog evolves into a Beautifly, which is unfortunate as I would have preferred Dustox, but oh well. My team is still pretty solid and very able to handle Roxanne. Roxanne using 2 Geodudes first, who Shroomy Boy can one-shot with Bullet Seed, and out comes Nosepass. Shroomy Boy leveled up and learned Mega Drain, so he easily dispatches Nosepass with a combination of Leech Seed, Stun Spore, and a few Mega Drains. That's the first badge, and my team is pretty solid. After the gym, I go back to the Whismur Cave. Rusturf Tunnel? It has a name? I always just called it the Whismur Cave. Huh. Anyways, I go back to the Whismur Cave to rescue a Wingull, and as a way to repay me, the owner of the Wingull decides he's going to take me on a boat ride across the sea at my beck and call for the rest of time. He sails me to Dewford Town so I can deliver a letter to Stephen Stone. On my way out of Rustboro, May asks to battle, but for one of the only times in Pokemon history, I'm able to decline and continue the game. This is nice, as I can just avoid any risk of battling her. In Dewford, I can get an Old Rod, and I'm able to catch a useless fish. Get in the box. I also catch a Tentacool named Jelly and a Makuhita named Sumo. Even though he can be skipped, I decide to challenge Brawly now. This will make it easier to follow the level cap, and I have pretty good counters through Boog and Burb anyhow. I do some grinding and challenge Brawly. I lead with Boog since she can take fighting attacks well due to her 4 times resistance to fighting, and she's able to fire back with powerful gusts. She manages to 2-shot Machop after Brawly wastes a Super Potion, and when Meditite comes out, I take the chance to use Absorb to heal a little. Meditite can only attack with Focus Punch, so as long as I continuously attack, I'm safe. After several turns of healing and gusting, Meditite goes down, and out comes Makuhita. Boog can almost one-shot Makuhita, but he heals with a Citrus Berry and sets up a Bulk Up. Boog fires off another Gust as Makuhita just uses Bulk Up again, allowing Boog to use one more Gust and defeat Makuhita. That's 2 badges down with 0 deaths. Emerald is a lot easier to Nuzlocke than Platinum, at least in my experience. Next up on the agenda is heading towards Mauville City to battle Watson, and even though a lot of story events happen in between, I don't get many encounters. In fact, all I'm able to get is an Electrike named Trike and an Oddish named Radish. Before we can even get to Mauville, we have to battle May. This May fight is as hard as she'll ever be, and is notorious for being a run-ender for speedruns. Luckily for me, I have a counter to her Grovyle, so she's a cakewalk. Time to go prep for Watson. This run is going to be so much quicker, but there just isn't much time in between gyms that's worth talking about. Watson will be easy since I have Muddy, so I confidently enter the fight. As expected, Muddy is able to just spam Mudshot until everything dies. I wasn't kidding when I said the Mudkip line can solo this gen. That's 3 badges down with still 0 deaths. Finally, there's something relevant to mention before the next gym. Before Flannery, I'm gonna have to fight Maxi, the Team Magma leader. He isn't too threatening, but if unprepared he could pose a threat. On the way, I catch a Numel named Toaster, a Slugma named Lava Lamp, a Spinda named Swirl, and a Swablu named Mr. Blue Sky, and a Zubat named Batman, a Machop named Karate Kid, and a Wynut named Why Not. This game seems to have sections with next to no encounters, and then sections with way too many encounters. On the way to Maxi, I get into a tricky situation in a double battle, and Boog ends up going down. I have no clue why the AI used Rock Throw against Muddy, but Boog unfortunately took the hit. Rest easy, you are powerful for honestly a lot longer than I thought you would be. This is a better fate than rotting in the box. I go to challenge Maxi, and I lead with Burb as he leaves Mightyena. After Intimidate, Burb doesn't do much damage, so I switch to Shroomy Boy, who finishes Mightyena with a Mach Punch. Maxi sends in Camerupt, so I switch to Muddy. Camerupt wastes a turn using Focus Energy, so Muddy uses Water Gun. Camerupt then retaliates with a very pathetic tackle, so Muddy finishes him off. Lastly is Zubat, who goes down to a few more Water Guns. Easy. Now I'll just head to Flannery and battle some wild Pokemon on the way, and what could go wrong? I realized immediately I should have ran, but I didn't, and a crit Psybeam finishes Shroomy Boy. Great. 2 deaths before I even reach Flannery. The show goes on though, so I grind to prepare to challenge Flannery. I still have Muddy, who can handle most of this gym for me, and I also trained the useless Fish, who has transcended into the monster known as Gyarados. After losing Shroomy Boy, I'm done messing around. Flannery leads with Numel, and I lead with Muddy. Water Gun one-shots, and out comes Slugma, who falls to a single Mudshot. Camerupt comes in, who survives a Mudshot and uses Attract. I'm worried a critical Earthquake could finish Muddy, so I swap to Fish to be safe. Camerupt just went for Tackle though, so Fish easily finishes him off, and last is Torkoal. Fish is able to finish the Torkoal by using Dragon Rage, earning me my 4th badge. We're halfway done, folks. This was the time in the run I honestly started to get a little bored. I'm not sure if I'm getting better at Nuzlocking, or this game is too easy, or both, but I wasn't struggling. Both of my deaths thus far were just stupid mistakes, not the game being challenging. Due to this boredom, I start planning less, and oh boy, that'll work perfectly against Norman. Before Norman, I go to the Mirage Tower to catch a Trapinch named Chomp, and I decided to grab the Root Fossil. I'm not exactly sure as to why, but I had a strange feeling that I needed to tell you guys that for the YouTube algorithm. After a bit of grinding, I head to Norman. Just kidding, while clearing some gym trainers, I got stuck in a bad situation where Zangoose had used Swords Dance twice, and I was gonna have to sacrifice something. I let Karate Kid take the hit, and he dies. I send in Trike to finish off Zangoose, and Zangoose survives with a Sliver, killing Trike with a retaliating slash. Burb manages to finish off Zangoose, but I'm really upset about losing Trike. Manectric is really strong, especially when the champion, uses water types. Frustrated, I decide to just challenge Norman. This was a super dumb idea to not plan for him, but honestly I was getting a little bored and frustrated with the run, and decided to just go in with my team and try to improvise. I lead with Muddy against Norman's Spinda. Muddy uses Mudshot to take it down, but after using a Hyper Potion, Spinda was able to weaken Muddy quite a bit. Vigoroth comes in, and I swap to Fish to intimidate it. Fish fires off a Strength, but takes a critical slash, leaving her in range to die to a crit. I can't risk Fish, so I need to risk someone else. I send in Radish and attempt to put it to sleep, but it has Vital Spirit, so it can't fall asleep. I have Radish use Absorb, but it doesn't do much. This isn't looking good. I risk the crit and attack again, and one more Absorb will finish it. I risk another crit, don't get punished, but it survives the Absorb. I switch to Burb, who dodges a crit and finishes Vigoroth with Quick Attack, and next is Linoon. Burb is able to almost finish it, but Norman heals again. I'm running out of switchable Pokemon here. Not good. I swap to Fish to intimidate it, but I need to dodge a crit. Fortunately, Linoon doesn't get the crit, but I have to risk another. I'm luckily unpunished, and Fish barely hangs on to knock out Linoon. Slacken comes in, and I swap to Toaster to absorb the hit. Gotta dodge another crit. Toaster barely hangs on, and I swap to Sumo on Slacking's loafing turn, so that Sumo can use Fake Out, giving me another free turn. Sumo fires off a Vital Throw to do about half of Slacking's health, but the Citrus Berry means another won't knock it out, and if I use another, I could die to counter. I use Arm Thrust, shooting for a lucky 5 hit to kill it, and somehow I got 5 hits and a critical hit. Not gonna lie, I entirely made it through that battle unscathed purely out of luck. This is a gentle reminder to not underprepare for any major battle, even if you're frustrated and or bored. Nonetheless, that's 5 badges down with only 3 to go. The next gym battle will be against Winona, but on the way I take a slight detour to New Mauville. There I can catch a Magnet, the Magnemite, and complete the side quest for a Thunderbolt TM. I continue towards Fortree, catching Ziggy the Zigzagoon, receiving Meteorology the Cast Form. Round the Merrill, and Karma the Kecleon. After that, it's time to prepare for Winona, but this time I have a solid plan. Burb has the Guts ability, so her power doubles when she has a status. I also can give her the TM for Facade, a move that has 140 base power if the user is statused. Then, before the battle, I have a Wild Oddish Poison Burb, so she's ready to just sweep through this gym. I use Magnet first to handle the Swablu, and to preserve Burb's HP bar, since the poison will put her on a timer. Winona sends in Altaria, and predicting her to Earthquake, I swap to Burb. Facade brings Altaria down with a crit, which is perfect because Altaria's damage was in a bit of a range there. Facade then one-shots both Tropius and Pelipper, and Skarmory comes in. All I have to do is swap back to Magnet for a clean one-shot with Thunderbolt. This battle is a prime example as to why Guts is so good, especially when the game gives you Facade. 6 badges down, 2 to go. There's a lot to do before the next gym in Moss Deep, including a battle with Maxie. Along the way, I do catch a Shuppet named Zipper, a Duskull named Grape, and a Whalmer named Tubby. There are more encounters I can get now that I have Surf and better fishing rods, but until I want to use those Pokemon, I honestly can't be bothered to go and catch them. I end up not catching a Pokemon for most of the water routes. Anyways, after Mount Pyre, I can go to the Magma Hideout and challenge Maxie again. Maxie leads with Mightyena, and I lead Magnet. I'm a tad underleveled, but I should be alright. Magnet does about 50% with Thunderbolt, as Maxie uses a Super Potion. Mightyena tries to use Swagger, but Magnet pulls through and attacks anyways, finishing Mightyena. Next up is Camerupt, so I swap to Fish to absorb the Earthquake, and one-shot it with Surf. Then last is Crobat, who Magnet can completely wall. Unless Crobat spams Confuse Ray, Magnet can't attack for several turns. I end up having to swap around a lot to avoid confusion damage, and although it takes a while, Crobat goes down with little trouble. Maxie then awakens Groudon with the Blue Orb. Yep, red and blue legendaries, red and blue orbs. Seems simple enough. Maxie uses the Blue Orb for the red legendary, and is amazed it didn't work. After Archie steals a submarine, I decide the gym challenge is more important anyhow, and proceed to Moss Deep to challenge Tate and Liza. I fish up Finn the Sharpedo in the city, so now I have a Dark type, which is very useful for the Psychic Gym. I lead with Muddy and Finn for the double Surf combo, since in Gen 3 it doesn't hit your allies. Tate and Liza, that's a mouthful, gonna call them Tyza. Tyza leads with Xatu and Claydol, and Xatu sets up a Calm Mind as Claydol Earthquakes to hit both of my Pokemon. Finn takes way too much damage, and I have to swap. I bring in Fish as Muddy fires off another Surf. Tyza healed Xatu though, so now it's healthy with a boost. Muddy is at risk, so I need to swap. I bring in Grape, who's extremely bulky, as Fish uses Surf to finish Claydol and chip Xatu. Tyza brings in Lunatone as Xatu does half of Fish's health. I predict another Psychic and swap Fish to Magnet. Grape uses Shadow Punch to damage Xatu, but both of my Pokemon are now injured. Tyza heals Xatu again as a critical Thunderbolt for Magnet knocks it out. Solrock comes in as Lunatone sets up a Calm Mind, and Grape Shadow Punches Solrock for a decent amount. Magnet Thunderbolts Solrock, nearly finishing it, as it sets up a Sunny Day. Lunatone sets up another Calm Mind as Grape Shadow Punches Solrock for the knockout. Lunatone can only use Psychic to attack, so I swap Magnet for Finn. Grape stays in and Shadow Punches Lunatone as Finn absorbs the Psychic. Grape has a relatively low chance to die from the Psychic, but I can't risk any of my other team members, so I keep her in. Unfortunately, Lunatone gets the high roll, which takes her down. Her sacrifice wasn't his main though, as Finn uses Crunch to lower Lunatone's special defense and weaken it, guaranteeing that the next Crunch would finish Lunatone. I sent in Burb, who flies up just to be safe, but Crunch finishes Lunatone as expected. I might have played a little sloppy, but I'm not sure that I could have saved Grape. Overall, the battle was still successful, and I now have 7 of the 8 badges. Before I can fight Juan, I have to take care of some of the plot nonsense, including an Archie battle. I'm not even going to narrate this one, it was easier than Maxie. He then awakens Kyogre and it suddenly starts raining. Archie seems surprised that there's a heavy downpour, as if that's not exactly what he was trying to accomplish. I love Hoenn, but man is the plot garbage. I catch a Clamperl named Clammy and a Sableye named Shadow and prep for Juan. Burb can use the good old Guts Facade combo and one-shot everything that isn't named Kingdra, so I don't really plan that much. I figure I can kinda just improvise Kingdra. Dumbest mistake yet. As expected, Burb one-shots both the Love Disc and the Celio, and then Juan brings in Kingdra. Burb can't one-shot here, so I need to swap. Expecting an Ice Beam, I swap to Finn. This is where things get bad. Kingdra begins setting up double teams as I helplessly have to sit and watch. As Kingdra rests off the bit of damage I managed to get in, I realize my only hope is to stall Kingdra out of moves. This plan almost works, but then I get really unlucky. Muddy gets hit by a critical Water Pulse that also confuses him, and he dies to confusion damage. At this point, my team is so bruised that I'm pretty sure I'm about to wipe. I send in Finn to hopefully land a hit, but she's outsped and knocked out. Burb knows Aerial Ace, but it can't finish Kingdra from this range without a crit, so I need to throw my whole team against Kingdra and hope that somebody can land a hit. It's my only chance. I send in Chomp, who in hindsight had Feint Attack, but out of a stroke of luck, Chomp lands a Dragon Breath to knock out Kingdra. After that, I safely swap to Burb back in to clean up. Chomp was the hero of that fight, no doubt about it. I'm really upset to lose Muddy, but at least I didn't wipe. I also still have some really strong Pokemon, so the run is still winnable. Before heading to the Pokemon League, I go to the Shoal Cave to catch Blubs the Spheal and make a Shell Bell. Shell Bell is basically a poor man's leftovers, but I can't get the leftovers, so it'll have to do. I'm hoping to just use Fish to sweep, so healing will be helpful for her. I prepare my team as best I can, using TMs and tutors to give them powerful movesets. I also poison Burb again to use the Guts Facade combo if I need it. I almost didn't bring Cole, but she may be useful along the way, and if necessary, she'll make a decent sacrifice against Wallace. My big plan is to use Wailord to set up Fish and sweep, so I just need to get to Wallace. I challenged Sydney, but he's honestly pretty trash. His team is incredibly weak and has very little coverage. Magnet one-shots Mightyena and Crawdaunt, Cole handles Shiftry, then Magnet comes back in to deal with Absol, and Burb facades Cacturne. First easy Elite Four, but it only gets harder from here. My team isn't extraordinarily well equipped for Phoebe, but I think I can muscle through. Phoebe leads Dusclops, and I lead Burb. Burb takes a lot of poison damage as Dusclops spams to protect, so I swap to Cole, but Dusclops ends itself with a curse. Next up is another Dusclops, but this one has Earthquake, so I pivot to Chomp, then switch to Blubs and the Ice Beam. Blubs has Thick Fat, so he takes 6 damage from a critical hit. Blubs tanks a few Rock Slides and finishes Dusclops with a few Surfs and Ice Beams, and next is Banette. This one has Thunderbolt though, so I swap to Chomp. Chomp can use Earthquake and Crunch to finish out the Banette, and the other Banette comes in. This one has worse moves, so Chomp just crunches twice for another knockout. Last is Sableye, so I swap to Magnet, who resists all of its moves, and finishes it with a few Thunderbolts. Not too bad for improvising, but I honestly need to stop doing that. I blame this run, though, for being relatively boring. Next is Glacia, but Burb ironically handles her extremely well. Burb can for sure one-shot both Celios and the weaker Glalie, but if the second Glalie happens to have a defense-boosting nature, there's one roll that it can survive, so it just really isn't worth risking. When the stronger Glalie comes in, I have Magnet handle it. Magnet can tank Ice Beams, and could survive a non-critical explosion, so I use Magnet to dispatch Glalie as Glalie sets up a Hailstorm. Lastly is Walrein, so I send in Blubby to begin the Great Walrus War. We trade attacks for a while, Great Glacia healing her Walrein as I use Rest to heal Blubs, but I get stuck in paralysis for too long and am at risk of dying to a crit, so it's time to switch. I swap Fish to intimidate and tank a Body Slam, and then Fish gets paralyzed. I attempt to use Return, and after taking an Ice Beam, succeed. Walrein is low enough that Magnet can finish it with Thunderbolt, so I swap to Magnet on the Ice Beam and finish Walrein. 3 Elite Four down, 1 to go. Drake leads Shelgon, and I lead Burb. I know it has Protect to stall, but Fashad should be able to handle it. After Shelgon, Salamence comes in. Blub should be able to handle this, but I don't want to switch into a Rock Slide, so I send in Magnet to absorb a Rock Slide and bait a Flamethrower since Blubs has Thick Fat. Salamence managed to crit and burn Blubs, which really sucks. Blubs takes a critical Rock Slide that lowers him to 19 health, and defeats Salamence with an Ice Beam. The crit burn mattered though, as Blubs falls to burn damage. This really sucks, as I wanted to use Blubs to soften Wailord against Wallace, but oh well. I send in Fish and show off my plan for Wallace. Fish can use Substitute for safety, and then spam Dragon Dance until the sub ends. After setting up a couple dances, Fish can use Return and run through Drake's entire team. Nice and easy, now let's do it again against Wallace. I plan to lead Magnet to soften it so that Water Spout does less, then use the time to set up Fish and hopefully sweep. Mentally preparing myself, I challenge Wallace. Magnet unfortunately defeats Wailord. I guess it has special defense reducing nature. This is bad as now Wallace sends in Gyarados. This Gyarados knows Earthquake, so Magnet can't stay in. I swap to Chomp and then try to paralyze it with Dragon Breath as I helplessly watch it set up Dragon Dances. Gyarados uses Hyper Beam and finishes off Chomp, but that does give Magnet the opening to Thunderbolt it down while it recharges. Next is Wishcash, so I decide it's now or never to set up Fish. I misclick and use Return when I meant to substitute, wasting a turn. I managed to get 2 dances set up before having to attack, but it isn't enough. I can't one-shot Wallace's team with 2 boosts, but my only option is to use Fish as long as I can and try to improvise the rest. Knocking out Wishcash healed Fish a little, so I set up another substitute in hopes that Tentacruel can't break the sub and I can boost again. Unfortunately, Sludge Bomb breaks the sub, so I use Return. Tentacruel hangs on, so Fish is surely dead. Or not! Fish lived with 1 HP. I'm then able to finish Tentacruel after Wallace heals, earning me a lot of HP with my Shell Bell. Melodic comes in, so I'm gonna fire off a Return and die, I guess. Somehow, again, Fish lives, this time with 5 HP. I'm so amazed, but I'll take it. Fish finishes off Melodic with another return, and now there's just Ludicolo. Fish uses Return one last time before falling to Giga Drain. Enjoy your slumber, Fish, you've earned it. Burb comes in and is able to easily finish off Ludicolo, earning us the victory. That champion battle was insane, probably one of the most hype Pokemon battles I've ever had. Fish surviving those attacks just barely clutched the fight so hard. All in all, not my best run, but I still had fun, at least towards the end. I think I need to start taking on harder challenges, but I was in the middle of recording this when the Platinum video took off. I still can't make community posts as of writing this, so I'm asking all of you here now, if you're still here, would you be interested if I live stream future runs? I think for my next challenge I'm going to do Black 2 on challenge mode, since I don't have a lot of Gen 5 experience, and challenge mode is supposed to make things actually pretty hard, so I think it'll be fun. If you guys would be interested, I could live stream that run over on Twitch, so let me know down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and whether it would be on Twitch or in the next YouTube video, or both, I hope to see you around in the future for my next run. And if you enjoyed, consider subscribing and leaving a like. That's all I've got, folks. Goodbye!